Hello and welcome to Turning Ideas into Apps, the low-code TrackVia demo. My name is Michelle Martz Mayfield and I'm the PR and Corporate Communications Manager for TrackVia. To get started, we have just a few housekeeping details to go over. You have entered this webinar on mute and listen-only mode, and please remain in that mode throughout the presentation so everyone can hear. If you do have a question, please submit that question via the chat window, and we will follow up with those questions after the presentation. Those that we don't answer live, we will try to answer for you in an email. This webinar is being recorded. We will send you a follow-up email with the recording within 48 hours after. I think that takes care of all of our housekeeping details. Brandon will be your presenter today, and so I will hand it over to Brandon Gill.
Thanks so much, Michelle. Hi, everyone. My name is Brandon Gill. I'm a senior solutions consultant here at TrackVia. And just to give you a little overview into what we're going to be covering today, throughout the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk a little bit about who we are here at TrackVia. For those that are maybe unfamiliar with what we do here, talk a little bit about what is low code. It's a term you'll hear me use quite a bit, and it's the software space that TrackVia plays in, but it's actually a much larger space within technology as a whole, and it is growing quite a bit. We're going to talk about who can use low code as well, because it is kind of a new space and a growing space. So who is the actual ideal customer, who's the ideal user of low code can change a little bit. And then we're going to spend a majority of our time actually in a demonstration showcasing a simple application of TrackVia, a simple application of low code that shows the tools that we use to build out applications for all of our customers. So I want to start by just giving a little intro to TrackVia and who we are. We were founded in 2006, and for context, the term low code really started to get popular around 2005. So we do consider ourselves to be a pioneer in this space. We're headquartered in Denver, Colorado, have around 75 employees and over 350 customers. And on the right-hand side of this slide, what you're going to see is a few cherry-picked customers that I wanted to put their logos up here. And I wanted to include these logos, not necessarily to showcase some of our customers, but also just to talk about the differences in how these customers use TrackVia. What you're going to find as we go through this demonstration, as we talk about low code and talk about TrackVia, is that it's a very flexible platform. It's a very flexible technology that allows people to solve a lot of different problems across a lot of different industries. So, for example, the North Face uses us on their manufacturing line. They were able to take the time of custom order delivery from 21 days to 7 days, just by having more efficient processes and a more efficient solution. KSI is in the oil and gas industry. They use us for safety and field inspections, inventory, asset tracking, a whole lot of different things using our mobile capabilities. Stearns Home Loans is one of our largest customers and one of the largest non-bank loan originators in the country. They use us for many back office processes. They have over 10 different applications with us covering a wide variety of their business. Honeywell, I think everybody knows Honeywell to some extent. They use us on their procurement team. Las Vegas Sands uses us for anti-money laundering, and Deep Roots Harvest actually comes out of our cannabis and hemp vertical, and they use us really to run their entire operation, from growing plants to trimming plants to shipping and receiving of inventory to sales. You know, they really use us as like a full ERP system for their business. So just to give you that breadth of horizontal type customers we work with, solving a lot of different use cases. If you come into this webinar with one particular use case in mind, what you're going to see is the way we build within the product means you could probably accomplish that use case and many more. So what is low code? It's a term that you've heard me use a few times already. Maybe you're familiar with it, but for those that are not, it's still a growing term, I would say, within technology. And just the textbook definition I'll read for you is it's software that provides a development environment used to create applications through graphical user interfaces and configuration instead of traditional hand-coded computer programming. What that really means in layman's terms is everything you're going to see that I've built today was built without code. It's a drag and drop interface. It's very easy, very intuitive to build your own applications. And that's really what TrackVia is. It is a platform for you to build applications on top of. And these applications, as mentioned with those customers, can span a wide variety of things. I've seen applications that take on, an entire manufacturing and logistics process, all the way down to applications that track vacation and PTO time. So as big of a use case as you can think of to as small as a use case you can think of, if you're tracking data, if you're moving data between departments, typically done in Excel and email, and you want a more efficient way to do it, TrackVia is a great solution. But when it comes to low code, there's actually really a spectrum out there. If you were to go and look up different low code providers and things like that, you're going to find something that kind of looks like this. And on the left-hand side of the spectrum is what I think of as just lightweight low-code tools. These are things that people are typically coming to us at TrackVia and saying, I'm starting to outgrow these things. Excel, Access databases, they've gotten us a long way for a long time, but we're starting to see inefficiencies, whether that's just in data loss or not being able to manage these files. The scalability starts to become an issue. That's really when those systems start to fall over. On the right-hand side, you've got developer toolkits. These are still technically considered to be low-code solutions, but they're a little different. They give you a framework to work within, but you still do need to have some type of programming background to really make them work. Very robust tools, but it's that need for programming that makes them a little trickier. TrackVia sits in the middle in what I consider a world that is true low code. You can build very robust business applications. You do have the ability to use some coding if you have some more advanced thoughts in mind and more advanced functions that you want to unlock within the system. But a majority of our customers and a majority of the applications they build are done without any coding at all. And that's really what makes it an appealing solution, is because anybody can do it. The people that know the workflows can really get in and do the work and build out these workflows in a meaningful way very quickly. And with that in mind, who is low code for? It's for everybody. We really cater to business users here at TrackVia that utilize low code to build out these business processes and business applications that they live and breathe every day, enabling them to get better visibility into the processes that might be giving them headaches, be able to unlock bottlenecks within their processes, and be able to do this without needing any IT resources. However, on the other side of that, if you are an IT professional and you see this as a potential tool in your tool belt to stand up applications very quickly, we have many IT professionals that pick this up and just love TrackVia because of how easy it is to use. If you have that IT background, that IT mind, you can pick this up and run with it very, very quickly and stand up these applications very quickly. So let's get into a demonstration here. We've got 25 minutes left. We'll spend about 20 of them in the demo, and then I'll answer a couple of questions that we have. And the demo I want to walk you through today is a demo of a facilities audit example. Now, again, this is a high-level demonstration showcasing the tools that are within TrackVia for you to build out your application. So if this application isn't inherently apparent to what you might be doing, that's okay. What I really want you to focus on is the tools that are being used to build out this application. But what we're going to do here is an inspector is going to complete a mobile inspection on a mobile device. So this might be someone doing a safety inspection, it might be a maintenance report, it might be a warehouse walkthrough, anything like that. They're going to assign the owner for some follow-up tasks on the mobile device as well. A manager will be alerted of these tasks and the follow-ups that need to happen. That owner and that manager will complete those tasks, and then the inspector will review and approve the tasks for the final inspection and the final wrap up of that workflow. So let's go ahead and get out of this and let's hop over to this other tab here where we are showing TrackVia. So I want to start by just giving a high level overview of what we're looking at on the screen here, and then we'll actually jump into the demonstration. So in our top left-hand corner, we have our TrackVia logo here. This really serves as a home button that takes us to the main dashboard on any application. This can, of course, be custom branded so that it really looks and it feels like it is your organization's system. The URL up here can be custom branded as well. Next to that, you'll see that I'm currently in an application called Facilities Audit, like I mentioned. But if I hit this drop down here, what you're going to see is a bunch of different applications that I have in this particular account. Things like asset tracking, field services, inventory tracking, invoice approval, project tracking, quality control inspection. The list really goes on, and that's really a testament to the flexibility of the platform. None of these things are pre-built. They are built from scratch using the tools that we're going to walk through today, so you can really utilize this toolkit within TrackVia to build out any workflow process and any data tracking that you need. And if you have any interest in seeing any of these in more detail, always happy to schedule a follow-up after this webinar. But we're going to stay in Facilities Audit for today. You'll see below that I am currently logged in as an admin, so I have access to this admin toolbar. And then within this application, I've got a couple of different dashboards here. You could have as many dashboards as you'd like. I keep it to 3 just for demonstration purposes. But what dashboards are great for is they are made up of a series of elements like shortcut buttons and grid type views and map type views and things like that that really bring data to the forefront for the end user. So whether that end user is an inspector in this case, or a manager, or whoever it might be, they might want to see different types of data, so it brings it to the forefront for them. And with our robust roles and permissions, you can permiss people so that they can only see information that's relevant to them. They can't see other information, whether that's for security purposes or just so you don't, have them seeing things that they just don't need to see. So let's go ahead and get started here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull over a mobile device that I've got sitting on my desktop here, or my desk here in front of me. And what you're going to see on this mobile device is it is an exact replica of what you are seeing on the desktop behind you. So TrackVia prides ourselves on having a native mobile application. And what that means is if I hit the home button on this iPad, you're going to see, we'll worry about the passcode later here. Oh, guess it's going to make me do it. So excuse me one second here. It's never a good webinar if you don't have at least something that happens that throws you off a little bit. Let's just go ahead and remove that for now, and we'll take care of that later. I apologize for everybody. But what I do want to mention is the native mobile application that we have within TrackVia. What this allows you to do is be able to really take advantage of the mobile device's capabilities. So you can take photos, you can scan barcodes, you can tag location sharing. Any of that information can be captured on a mobile device, and anything that we build on the desktop is going to be fully available for us on the mobile device as well. So if we want to build out a new dashboard, it's automatically going to be available for us on the mobile as well. So let's go ahead and run things from the desktop. Again, I do apologize for the mobile giving us a little trouble here. And let's just start by hitting this flow to conduct a facilities audit. When we do this, we're going to be presented with a few different things here. First off, we're going to be asked what facility are we actually auditing? So I can click down here and I can see all the different facilities that I've got. And maybe we just say we want to use Lee's Summit in this case. We can also say what's the audit date and time, and it's right now. This is just a defaulted rule that we have on this form so that when I actually start this audit, it's going to default the date and time for me. We can say who is the auditor, so we can select who the auditor is, and then we can say what audit type is this, and maybe it's a monthly visit. And all the fields that you're seeing on this custom form are totally customizable. If we need to add fields, take fields away, do anything like that, it's very easy to make those changes. We'll actually show you how to do that here in just a few minutes. And then if we want to actually tag in the address, we certainly can. In this case, I'm just going to leave it blank for now. But if we want to do any map tracking, we can do that. We'll hit next on this, and what we're going to be taken to is the next step within this flow where we have all the information we filled in originally, and then we have some questions that we're going to be asked. So are all the working areas clean and hazard free? We'll say, yep, that looks good. Do we have our fire extinguishers charged? We'll say, yep, that looks good. Materials and supplies properly stored, that's fine. And then are the machines in safe operating condition? Let's actually say this one is below average. And when I do that, I'm going to be prompted to showcase a couple of different things. I'm going to be prompted to leave some comments, and maybe we'll just say machine safety needs to be looked at, whatever the case may be there. And then I can include an image if I would like to as well. And in this case, I'm not going to worry about the image, but the point here is that we have different form rules that can make these forms very easy to showcase data that the end users really need to see. Show hide rules, required fields, a lot of different things like that. Let's go ahead and hit next on this, and it'll take us to our final screen here where we can actually do a sign off and a signature of the audit, in this case, to verify who did it. So I can see all the information that we filled in here. We can get a score, we can get a score percentage, and this is all just based on some weighted averages that I've put behind the scenes on these individual questions. I can do a signature if I'd like, but we do also have a full audit history within TrackVia, so we can always see who did what, when, and where within the system, which can be really handy. And then we'll add an action plan task. So obviously we want to follow up on this machine safety, so let's add a task for our manager to actually take a look at this. So now we're actually on a different form where we're going to be adding an action plan task to this inspection. We're going to assign it out to Mike Manager in this case. The assigned date is defaulted. We'll say the due date is maybe within a week. The task to complete is evaluate machine safety, something like that. The area to improve might be the equipment maintenance, the task stage is defaulted to not started, and maybe the comments I leave is lots of dust near machines. Please evaluate. Something simple like that. There we go. Do we want to add another plan task? We'll say no in this case, and that will effectively close our loop on this workflow. We complete the audit, and now we're taken back to the dashboard, and we can see there's that Lee Summit audit here. You're also going to notice that these are in different colors here. I've got some conditional formatting set up that says if it's below a certain score, flag it to me in red. So it can be very easy to, again, bring that data to the forefront, make it very apparent what things need to be evaluated, what things maybe don't need to be evaluated. Now, there's a couple things that have happened off my screen here that I want to bring over. So one of them is my email. If I drag this over, what you're going to see is 0 minutes ago, I received this email notification to Mike Manager, who we just assigned that task to, letting them know a little bit about what we saw, evaluating the machine safety. This falls under equipment maintenance. This is when it's due, things like that. So this is showcasing some automated notifications that are coming out of TrackVia. These can come out both on a task basis, so when something's assigned to someone is a great example of it, or on a time basis. So if it's been 5 days and Mike Manager hasn't done something, maybe we send him another reminder email. So this can be really handy when it comes to moving that data along in the process, not making sure things don't get lost, and having that visibility into what's been done in the system. With that in mind, I'm going to shift over to this regional manager dashboard where we are now taking a look at the world from the perspective of Mike Manager. So in this case, Mike Manager has a different dashboard that showcases different things. One of those things being a facility scorecard that showcases the facilities that Mike manages in this case. We can see a map view of those facilities. Mike manages the Kansas City area in this case. And I can go down here and see an open task board. These are all the tasks that have been assigned to Mike. We have some conditional formatting if they have not been completed in a timely fashion. And we also have a calendar view where we can see all the things that have been assigned to Mike on more of a calendar basis. Now this task number 212 is the task that we assigned to Mike to check the machine efficiency and to check the machine safety. So what we can do here, if I'm Mike, is I can look at this, I saw the email that it came through, and on this lanes view that we have, I can pick this up and just move it over and say this is in progress. And I can start to do the work, and that in progress status might flag an email back to the inspector saying, hey, this is actually being worked on, it's not just sitting in my queue, whatever might be needed for the workflow at hand. Now, if I'm Mike, I might be doing some work on this. I can click into here. I can see everything that was given. This is all the information that was given by the inspector. And just for simplicity's sake, I can just say we have completed it. So we're ready for approval on that. You can say we dusted off the machines. And maybe I include a photo if I'd like to verify that it's done. And since it's ready for approval, when I hit save changes on this and go back out to Mike's dashboard, you'll see that card jumped over to this ready for approval stage. Now, I'm not going to bring this over here, but I did get another email notification. So if we go back to the role of a facilities auditor, and I go down to this task approval required queue that I've got here, you'll see the task that we had here. This is where we're evaluating that machine safety. Mike Manager did something there. I can click into it. I can see everything that I told Mike. I can see all the notes that Mike had back. If he left an image, I can see an image. I can see how long it took Mike to do this based on when the card moved from that in process queue to the ready for approval queue. In our case, you'll see it was less than a minute, in fact, but realistically, it might be a couple of hours or something like that. So we can actually see how long these tasks are taking. And do I approve it or not? And in this case, I'll just say, yes, I approve it. When I do that, I'll get this little notification that says this last change caused this record to leave the view. And what that means is it's left this view of tasks that require my approval. So this is a really great way to set up different tasks that people need to see, have that kind of approval queue or that task queue, and be able to just work through all the things that you need to work through in a given day. Again, bringing data to the forefront, having better visualization into the tasks at hand, into the data that's being collected, being able to do something with that data and being able to route it to the appropriate people is really what TrackVia is all about. Whether your data is a facilities audit or a manufacturing plant or a vacation tracking application or whatever the application might be for your particular needs. So in this case, let's reevaluate what we've done. We were able to conduct a facilities audit. We did it on the desktop and not on mobile, unfortunately. And again, I apologize for that. But upon doing that, we were then able to assign out tasks to an end user like Mike Manager. Mike Manager was able to get notifications on that, complete his tasks, route that information back to the inspector, and the inspector was able to say that works or that does not work for me. So it's a fairly simple workflow, but it is one where data is moving around different people, different departments, and we're able to manage all of that in real time with TrackVia and having it built on the TrackVia platform. So let's get out of the story mode here and just showcase a couple of other things in the last 10 minutes or so. One of the things I want to showcase to you is TrackVia also offers full reporting capabilities. So this is just a sample list of some of the reports you can put together, things like the monthly trends of our audit performance. You can see all of our different facilities color-coded based on the region they're in. We can break it down by market performance. We could break it down by average performance by facility. What I always tell people is really anything you can track in TrackVia, you can chart in TrackVia. And the great thing about any of this stuff is it's all going to update in real time. So if I want to go down and drill into any of these things, like maybe Lee's Summit, which is the facility we just evaluated, I can go down to the record level of Lee's Summit, which is going to show me a lot of different information about Lee's Summit that we filled in, like who the manager is, the address of it, all of the different performance trends that we've seen, the average score that this facility gets, as well as all the inspections we've done. We can go as far as to go all the way down into that inspection that we just completed and the actual task that Mike Manager completed for this inspection. So you have very robust reporting capabilities that will all update in real time and give you that visualization and give you that insight that you might need to a particular process. Now, the other thing that a lot of people ask is, well, Brandon, all this is great, but how do you actually build within TrackVia? You keep talking about low code, how easy it is to make changes. This is a platform. We're building it from scratch around our processes. What does that really look like? Well, we're not going to go through and build an entire application here, but I will show you how easy it is to make some changes within the system as an admin. And to do that, what we're going to do is we'll start at the table level. So underlying all TrackVia applications are a simple relational database. In my case, this database is made up of these 4 tables. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this audits table and I'm going to edit that. Now this is what's called our table editor within TrackVia. On the left-hand side of the table editor are all of the different field types that we might use. So text and number fields we're typically going to type into. We've got some drop-down and checkbox fields, which I really like because I think it helps keep the data very clean because it gives your end users an option to select something instead of typing in whatever they want. We saw some date and time fields. We have some specialty fields like emails and links and images and things like that. Some location fields for location tracking, and then all these calculated fields work the same as they might work in like Excel or something like that. In the middle is all of the different raw data fields that are being collected on this table. If I scroll down, you're going to see a bunch of different calculated fields. This might not be stuff that we expose to all of our end users, but in its most raw form, this is the information being collected on this table. And if I wanted to make a change to this table, start collecting a new piece of information, maybe my business has grown, maybe we've scaled, maybe for regulatory reasons we need to collect something new, all I have to do is say what field type do I want, and in my case I want a drop-down list, and I can drag it over and drop it in place. And let's just call this something like audit priority, and we'll give it some options, high, medium, and low, and we'll hit save on that. So now that's a new piece of information we can start to collect that will go into this table for us, and we can start to do reporting on it, charting on it, anything that we want from there. But now we want to actually collect that piece of information. So to do that, we put it on one of our forms. Forms are broken down by actual table types. So if I go down to this form here, which is starting our facilities audit, and I edit that, this takes us to our form editor. Looks very similar to the table editor. Left-hand side are the fields we can use. Right-hand side is how we actually want this form to be laid out. And I can do a lot of things here. I can change these. Maybe I make this map a little smaller and I bring this audit priority over here. Maybe I switch places there. Maybe I make the audit priority a little bigger. And maybe I even make this audit priority a required field. So I can go down to the field level and put some requirements on this field. I can change the color of the background. We can do a lot of different things on these forms, but for time's sake, we'll just keep it right there and hit save on that. So now that we've done this, we've added it onto our table, we've added it onto our form, we're now ready to actually start collecting that piece of information, and everything's going to update in real time at TrackVia. So what I can do is now when I conduct a facilities audit, there's our audit priority with our options of high, medium, and low. It's a required field, so I actually cannot move forward but with this audit without filling that information in. So these little form rules seem kind of small, but when it comes to collecting clean data, making sure your data is in a place where it's going to make sense and getting better visibility into your data, little form rules like that can really go a long way into making the experience that much better for the end users and the people actually filling it in, as well as management and people that might want to actually get some insights from this data. So at this time, we've got about 5 minutes left. I do have one last slide I want to go over, and I want to thank everybody for spending the time with us today. And there are a couple questions that we have in the question box that I will address. I don't think we'll get to all of them, but I'll try to address a couple of them at least. Before we get to that, just the final notes here to recap some of the things Michelle covered in the beginning. We will be sending an email with a recording of this webinar to you all within 48 hours. So do expect that to be coming by if you want to share this around with anybody. It also will appear on our YouTube channel. So if you want to check out that or any other webinars or any other content, you can do that there. Really appreciate any feedback that we get on these. We do these webinars monthly. We try to change up the demos a little bit. We try to keep it fresh for people that have never seen TrackVia and maybe for people who are familiar with low code a little bit. But if you don't mind answering a short survey that's going to pop up on your screen, it's about 3 questions, shouldn't take you very long, just so we can continue to make these webinars even better. And if you want any immediate information, I've included my email here. It's just my first name and last name with a period in the middle at trackvia.com. So if you have any questions at all, want to see any of the other demos that we have, or have any questions that we don't get to today, feel free to shoot me an email. Now, we do have a couple of different questions, so I want to make sure we get to these. There's actually a handful in the chat here, but I think we'll only have time for a couple of them. One of them is, Brandon, how do you deal with development type needs? For example, if I wanted to build some test applications, could I do that within TrackVia? So that's a great question. This is a question that we actually get quite often. And I think the question really revolves around, because everything updates in real time at TrackVia, that's really beneficial when we do things like add a table or add a field, add information to a form and stuff like that. But it can also be a little scary, especially if you're trying to test out a new form, test out how something's going to look. Doing all that in real time, especially if you have a lot of users, can be a problem. And what we have for that is we actually have a sandbox functionality that allows you to do sort of like development cycles, where you can create an exact replicate of your application within TrackVia, be able to make any changes that you have there, whether you're adding a form, adding fields, doing whatever you want there. You can see how it looks. You can actually see how it looks as an end user. So it's not even just the admin view. You can actually say, I want to see how my foreman is going to see this. I want to see how my exec assistant is going to see this, whatever it might be, whoever your users are within TrackVia. And then you can actually recreate that within your production applications. So we do have that ability to do some building on the side without actually changing your production applications. Let's see, another question I had is, what is the mobile app available on? It's a good question. The mobile app is fully available on both iOS and Android. So if you have those mobile use cases, if people are out in the field using an iPad, using an iPhone, using an Android device, it's all fully available on there. You can also use just the browser and be able to log into TrackVia, but really we see mobile as a big advantage of TrackVia. We also have offline capabilities with the mobile. So if you have a field service use case, or maybe you don't have the best connectivity, or I've even seen, warehouses that don't have the best connectivity, the fact that you can go offline and continue to work is a really big plus when it comes to a cloud-hosted technology like TrackVia. We've got about 2 minutes left, so I think we have time for one more question. Brandon, what are some of the integrations capabilities that you have within TrackVia? It's a great question. I think it's a question we get on every webinar. I'll give you the short and sweet of it. TrackVia is fully capable of integrating with other cloud-hosted systems. We have an open and bi-directional API, so we can connect into other systems and push data from TrackVia, pull data into TrackVia, whatever's needed there. We also have an integrations platform that's through a partnership that we have with a company called Workato that allows us to utilize pre-built connectors to build those integrations without needing to touch our API. So going with our philosophy of low code, empowering business users to be able to build applications, we can extend that into being able to build integrations using the TrackVia integrations platform. All right, we're about at the 11:30 mark here Mountain Time, so I do want to thank everybody for joining. Again, that survey will pop up. If you can take a couple of minutes and fill that out, we would really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. Thanks, everyone.